In 1828, something glittering was discovered in the hills of Georgia. It wasn't just gold. It was the beginning of one of the darkest chapters in American history, because that discovery would eventually force thousands of Native American men, women, and children from their homes, and send them on a deadly journey that became known as the Trail of Tears. This is the story of how greed, politics, and power changed the lives of an entire nation forever. And the shocking part? Many Americans have never heard the full story. To understand what happened, we have to go back nearly 200 years. Long before the gold rush began, the Cherokee people lived across large parts of what are now Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Alabama. They weren't wandering tribes living outside society, as many people imagine. The Cherokee had farms, schools, churches, newspapers, and even their own written language. Many Cherokee families lived in permanent homes. Some owned successful businesses. Others raised crops and livestock. In fact, many Cherokee leaders believed they could peacefully coexist with the growing United States. But everything changed in 1828. That year, gold was discovered in northern Georgia. News spread quickly. Almost overnight, thousands of prospectors flooded into Cherokee territory hoping to get rich. It became America's first major gold rush years before the famous California gold rush. Suddenly, Cherokee land became extremely valuable, and many white settlers wanted it. The problem? The land already belonged to the Cherokee people. At first, the Cherokee tried to protect their rights through legal means. They argued that their treaties with the United States guaranteed ownership of their land. But powerful political forces were working against them. At the center of the controversy was President Andrew Jackson. Jackson was a war hero to many Americans. But he strongly supported removing Native American tribes from lands east of the Mississippi River. In 1830, Congress passed the Indian Removal Act. Supporters claimed it would allow Native Americans to relocate voluntarily. But in reality, it opened the door for forced removal on a massive scale. The Cherokee fought back. Their leaders took their case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And something remarkable happened. They won.
If we sign this paper, we lose our home. We cannot allow it.
We must be wise, my son. Our survival depends on our unity now.
The court ruled that Cherokee territory could not simply be seized by the state of Georgia. For a brief moment, it seemed justice had prevailed. But the victory changed very little. Political pressure continued. Settlers kept moving onto Cherokee land. And government officials kept searching for ways to remove the tribe. Then came a controversial agreement known as the Treaty of New Echota. A small group of Cherokee leaders signed the treaty without approval from most of the Cherokee nation. The agreement gave away Cherokee lands in exchange for money and territory in present-day Oklahoma. Most Cherokee people rejected the treaty. They considered it illegitimate. But the U.S. government accepted it anyway. The countdown had begun. In 1838, federal troops arrived. Soldiers entered Cherokee communities and ordered families from their homes. People were given little time to gather belongings. Some were forced to leave behind farms they had worked for generations. Others abandoned livestock, tools, and personal possessions. Everything they had built was suddenly gone. Families were rounded up into camps. Conditions were overcrowded and unsanitary. Disease spread rapidly. Then the long march west began. Thousands of Cherokee people were forced to travel more than 1,000 miles to what was then called Indian Territory. Today, that land is largely part of Oklahoma. The journey took place during harsh weather conditions. Some groups traveled through freezing winter temperatures. Food was often scarce. Clean water was difficult to find. Medical care was almost non-existent. Children became sick. Elderly people struggled to keep moving. Parents watched loved ones weaken along the road. Many never reached their destination. Eyewitness accounts described heartbreaking scenes. Families buried relatives beside the trail and continued walking because they had no choice. Some travelers lacked adequate clothing. Others suffered from exposure, starvation, and disease. The journey became a nightmare. And that is why it came to be known as the Trail of Tears. Historians estimate that around 16,000 Cherokee people were removed. Approximately 4,000 died during the relocation or from conditions related to it. Think about that for a moment. 1 out of every 4 Cherokee people may have lost their life because of this forced migration. Not during a war. Not in a battle. But during a government-ordered relocation. For the Cherokee Nation, the consequences were devastating. Entire communities were shattered. Ancient connections to ancestral lands were broken. Families lost homes, businesses, farms, and cultural landmarks. The emotional scars lasted for generations. Yet despite everything, the Cherokee people survived. They rebuilt communities in Indian Territory. They established schools. They created new institutions. And they preserved important parts of their culture and identity. Their survival is a testament to extraordinary resilience. Today, the Trail of Tears remains one of the most painful events in American history. It raises difficult questions about justice, power, and the treatment of indigenous peoples. It also serves as a reminder that history is often more complicated than the stories many of us learned in school. The gold that sparked this tragedy brought wealth to some people. But for thousands of Cherokee families, it brought loss, suffering, and displacement. A discovery that promised riches ended up destroying a homeland. And nearly 2 centuries later, the lessons of the Trail of Tears still matter. Because understanding history isn't just about remembering dates and events. It's about recognizing the human cost behind them. And few stories in American history reveal that cost more clearly than the Trail of Tears. If this story surprised you, share it with someone who thinks they know American history. Because sometimes the most important stories are the ones that were never fully told. In 1838, thousands of Cherokee men, women, and children were forced from their homes and marched more than 1,000 miles west in one of the darkest chapters of American history. But what caused the Trail of Tears? Was it politics, land greed, or America's first gold rush? In this video, we uncover the shocking truth behind the Trail of Tears, the role of Andrew Jackson, the discovery of gold in Georgia, and the devastating consequences that changed the lives of the Cherokee Nation forever. From broken treaties to a deadly forced migration, this is a story every American should know.